Welcome to the Fantasy Dummies Football Podcast. I'm your host, Kay.
And I'm Jeremy.
And we are the Fantasy Dummies. I'm the fantasy. He's the dummy.
Okay.
I beat you to it.
I was gonna let it ride and not say anything because we were talking about not saying that but I was like literally just staring at you, waiting for you to do it. So you ended up falling right into that. So that's perfect.
Nice. All right. Okay, so this is going to be a super fun week for all of you guys this week. I said that. But we have a lot in store for this week. This is the week where everyone starts their draft. And if you guys want to get ahead or, be ahead of most of the people in your league, you need to start listening to this starting this week. Today is going to be our very last breakdown of the divisions. And after that, it's just going to be some fun stuff.
Yeah.
We're going to be going through some tricks and tips that you can use, hopefully to win, right? That's the goal, is to win.
Yeah. Winning is definitely the final goal for everyone listening to this. And I'm also going to have some, I want to say some negativity. One of the better podcasts that we have planned for this week is going to be an avoid list for every single round of, the first 10 rounds of fantasy drafts, because after that, it's just a crapshoot after the first 10 rounds. But basically, it's going to be about every pick in every one of those first 10 rounds that I just am not drafting, and I have an honorable mention for each round as well. So it's actually 2 players from each round that I'm just avoiding.
Right.
And I think it's actually a very useful thing to have.
For sure.
Because, everyone loves being positive, but everyone really wants to truly hear, hey, who the hell should I be avoiding? You know what I mean?
When you're reading the reviews on the restaurants you want to try or a place you want to go to, you don't read the positive review. Fuck the positive reviews. You read the negative reviews.
People feed off negativity.
Exactly.
So we have that in store for you. And I also have a My Guys episode. Basically, I have 5 players written up that, I don't know how a better way to just say it. They're just my guys. I'm going into every single draft hoping that they're on my team at least once. Now, again, I'm not a big advocate of drafting the same players on multiple teams because they end up just shitting the bed most times, and then my whole fantasy season is ruined because of that, kind of like last year for me. So I'm not going to say I'm going to try and draft them on multiple teams, but there are definitely targets in every single draft that I just can't stop.
Just got to get them in at least one.
I have to get them. So, and I have a few honorable mentions for that as well. We have that in store for y'all. And the last one that I'm currently working on is going to be basically a spicy take for every single NFL team for this upcoming season. Now, that can be for a player on said team. It can be for an NFL-related thing, like how the team's going to finish. It can be fantasy-related, but I'm writing that one up right now. And I'm going to ask Kay here to kind of, gauge how spicy some of these things are and whether or not she agrees or disagrees, or maybe can see a path for that take to happen.
You're asking for the impossible.
I'm asking for the world.
That means that I have to actually pay attention to stuff that you're saying.
You have to pay attention to the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good luck.
So that's a couple of the things. We're also talking about doing a mock draft because who doesn't love mock drafts? And yeah, that's kind of what we have in store for this week. I don't know in which order.
We're going to be dubbing it the Shark Week.
The Shark Week of drafts.
Draft Week.
Oh, still workshopping the name for sure.
It's Draft Week.
It's sure. We'll go with Draft Week. With that being said, it's like Kate said,
Week.
We have the last division breakdown today, and I'll be honest, I didn't realize the breakdowns were going to be so time-consuming finding all these notes for. So we're going to try and breeze through this and then get into the Draft Week.
We just call it Draft Week.
Yeah, so we have the last division today, which is the NFC West, which is a fun division because there's so much in this division. There's so many good teams. we have the 49ers, the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Cardinals. I mean, last year the Cardinals finished 4-13. This year, I mean, I'll give you a little bit of a, preview into my spicy take podcast we have lined up. I think the Cardinals could have a top 10 offense this year.
Hey.
So, not saying their defense is going to be very good, but with all the weapons that the Cardinals are going to have this season, low-key, they could be pretty good on offense this upcoming season. So 4-13, I think they're going to be better than 4-13. And with that being said, I mean, the other three teams are all also pretty good. The Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers, that is. So this division could get pretty interesting, I think.
Yeah.
So let's hit up some news first. Okay. Now, I've had this news in the dock for a minute because it's been a minute since we recorded. So a couple of these things might be a few days old, but bear with us. First line of news, Curtis Samuel has turf toe.
Ouch. Those are awful.
I was going to say Curtis Samuel is awful. No, turf toe is awful. Yeah. I don't really know. Turf toe is where you sprain your toe, right?
Basically, I think. I'm not sure, but those things are awful because you can't run with a bad toe.
No, you cannot. So he has turf toe. He's questionable for week 1. And I liked Curtis Samuel going into this season a lot because I think he has the possibility of being the wide receiver 1 for Buffalo. So this kind of hurts a lot. But with this being said, I think he's going to drop quite a bit in drafts because no one really likes Curtis Samuel. I mean, I feel like I was kind of on an island with that one. So I think he's actually more of a target, but you kind of have to adjust your expectations a little bit. Expect he might miss week 1, week 2. But with that being said, I mean, Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir should be smashes, and everyone's probably going to be over them or on top of those picks. So what do you think?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So our next bit of news, since there's really nothing to add with that one, Jamar Chase has been holding in at camp. He hasn't practiced. He hasn't really done anything. I think he's been working out on the sides. But he's waiting for a new contract with 2 years left on his rookie deal. Why'd you laugh?
It's 2 years left.
I know. Well, and see, that's the thing, right? A lot of people are saying, that these NFL players are kind of getting a little bit ungrateful. They're, if you sign a contract to work for 5 years for millions of dollars, and then 3 years into the deal, you're trying to get a new deal. I mean,
quit acting like a little bitch. Get the fuck out there and work.
So, yeah.
They're being babies.
I didn't realize, I know this is going to sound bad. I didn't realize it was actually this bad. I knew he wanted a new contract, but I didn't realize until very recently that he was actually holding in at camp. Like, he wasn't practicing. And that's very worrisome because the less reps you get in preseason, the more chance there is for injuries. And I'll say this about anyone that's holding out at camp. I say this about CeeDee Lamb. I say it about Jamar Chase now. I say it about Aiyuk on the 49ers, who we're about to talk about. But these players that hold out of camp and they don't get these reps and all this time to practice, man, I worry about soft tissue injuries like no one's business.
Yeah.
And if you're not getting those reps,
you're not getting those reps. You're not getting the exercise that you actually need,
Yeah, it just
getting
worries
out
me.
there in the heat.
Yeah, it worries me a lot. And that's honestly why I'm scared to draft some of these players now. It's because I'm just worried about a hamstring in week 1. It's going to take them out for a month,
Ooh, Yeah.
And if they're upset about their contract, what's the incentive for them to come back faster? You know what I mean?
Yeah, money. They need money.
Yeah.
Just fucking pay these motherfuckers so a draft will be better. Please.
Yeah. So in the last bit of news, I don't know how important this is, but Jahan Dotson got traded to the Eagles.
Yay.
In exchange for a 3rd-round pick and 2 7th-round picks. He also got traded with a 5th-round pick. So basically, the Commanders turned a receiver that they drafted in the 1st round 2 years ago. They traded him with a 5th-round pick to get a 3rd-round pick back. Now, you can determine if I don't really know what to make of this. I don't know how someone could see this trade and think that Jahan Dotson is on the good end of this. I think his value is kind of down the toilet now, so to speak.
A little bit, yeah. There's a lot of weapons in the Eagles.
I mean, you're literally a first-round receiver with 2 years left on your rookie deal, and you just got traded for a pick swap, essentially. So, I don't see how Jahan Dotson really recovers from this very well, barring an injury of some sort to the Eagles.
Hey, none of that bad juju.
Knock on wood.
You're not allowed to say that stuff.
Yeah, I'm knocking on wood.
Some of the stuff you say that's bad juju tends to come true.
True. Yes, very true. But I think that there is a positive here. This really opens the door for Terry McLaurin. He's essentially the only receiver on the Commanders that is worth a damn now. They have Luke McCaffrey, who's a rookie. But after that, I mean,
he is a McCaffrey. Maybe he has the McCaff blood.
True. He has the McCaff blood. I've never been a McLaurin guy. I thought he was always kind of just a somewhat safe wide receiver 2 that really has had zero upside because of quarterback play. And for whatever reason, people around the league and fans around the league tend to value him more than that. And I've never understood it. I think this is the first season now with the pathway here and a rookie quarterback in Jaden Daniels who has obvious talent that McLaurin actually has some decent upside now. Since he is the only option, he has the volume upside and he has the quarterback upside now.
Yeah, for sure. So
I'm actually very okay with drafting McLaurin this season for the first time probably ever.
Ever.
The only thing that could really mess this up is if Brandon Aiyuk gets traded here and now we have 2 legit receivers again.
Yeah.
But for the time being, that hasn't happened yet. And I like McLaurin this year now. It's like I said, volume plus quarterback play. I mean, I don't see how, he really falls below wide receiver 24. He just can't. The Commanders have to get him the ball in order for them to do anything this year. So, yeah. I think this also boosts their tight ends a little bit.
Yes.
So, do we know who the tight ends are?
No.
So, I could be wrong. I think I've mentioned this before, but I think they have Zach Ertz.
Oh, my God. My boy.
So, also need to mention, now, there's a rookie tight end that the Commanders drafted this season who is getting a lot of buzz. So I'm telling you now, because it's a name you need to know, especially with Jahan Dotson now gone. His name is Ben Sinnott, or Sinnott, however you want to spell it, or say it. Ben Sinnott could be a thing this year, or upcoming years. He's very athletic. He has a lot of run after the catch ability. And he's looked great this preseason as a rookie. So he could be a late sleeper for tight end. Now, I don't know if his upside is going to be there, this early in his career. But if he develops some chemistry with Jaden Daniels, it's definitely a name that could be picked up on waivers later in the season. So, is there anything else you would like to add?
No, let's get into it.
All right. Let's get into it. NFC West. We have the first team, finished 12-5 last year, went to the Super Bowl and lost, the 49ers.
Yay. McHusband
is indeed correct. So, let's just talk about the 49ers. The 49ers had the most efficient offense in the league last year that also had a Super Bowl berth, right? And lost efficiently to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Lost efficiently?
They lost efficiently,
Sir.
yeah. It was, they were so close last season to winning the Super Bowl. Do you think that has any, I'm trying to think of the right word. For this season and future seasons, do you think getting that close and losing will affect their mentality?
Absolutely. I think that makes you work a lot harder. oh my gosh, a lot harder
You think
for
so?
the next season. Yeah.
I kind of
mean,
think of it the opposite way.
I don't think so.
Like,
I
they
think
got that
makes,
close and lost,
nah,
and now it's like, fuck. Like,
nah. It's the 49ers. You got Christian McCaffrey in there. You have weapons.
Okay, now let me rain on that parade. You have the 49ers. They have McCaffrey, who already has a calf strain, hasn't practiced or played at all in the preseason. Okay, you have Brandon Aiyuk, who's still holding out. Okay, and Deebo Samuel. I don't know. There's been a few clips that I've seen, and of course this is kind of just baiting, with social media. There's a few clips of Deebo Samuel trying to run downfield, and he is just completely locked up by the cornerback. He doesn't look fast at all. And I know that's not really Deebo's game. He's more of like a gadgety bowling ball with legs,
Nice.
He does a lot of running and a lot of he's a man. You ain't tackling him with one person. But also he doesn't look fast in the clips, and it's kind of like a fat Keenan Allen kind of feeling. So my question to you is, do you think this house of cards is going to become like tumbling down this year? We already have so many issues with them.
It's a possibility, especially with the Aiyuk issue.
Yes, I think
That's a big issue.
I think it's a possibility, and that's my worry. I mean, they played so well last year, and they didn't get there.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like they also have a superstar mentality. Like, we went to the Super Bowl. Like, you owe me money. You need to pay me more.
Yeah, everyone wants money.
Like, if you don't pay me, or if you don't do something with me, I'm just not gonna perform well, or I'm just not gonna perform. Period.
And we're talking about a team that went to the Super Bowl, and their quarterback makes less money in a full season than Dak Prescott makes in a game. So, I mean, at some point this dam is going to burst, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm a little scared of this team. I'll be quite honest. McCaffrey has been the undecided, like the number one in fantasy drafts all offseason. But the problem with that is that this calf strain can really throw a wrench into all this. He's coming off a season where he performed so well with no injuries, really. I can't think of any injuries last year. Like 400 touches, and you're telling me that he's going to do a season exactly the same, hopefully, as last season with all those touches? It's a lot of wear and tear, man. And if his body doesn't respond to this amount of work last year well, he's going to start getting nicked up again, which we've seen already. He already has a strain in his calf. Okay. I don't know if I'm willing to draft someone that I'm that nervous about with the first or second overall pick.
I mean, to be fair, I did not want to draft him at all last year because of I thought that he was, injury prone, but he performed so well.
Yeah.
That I was kicking myself in the ass all year.
It seems like he's the type of player to have a full volume year and then next year get hurt all the time. Then a full volume year and then get hurt all the time. And the problem with that is that if you draft him in a year that he's getting hurt all the time, your season is basically over. Yeah. Because you have to take him in the first round. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So do you have the balls of steel to draft him that high this upcoming season after we already know he has a calf strain?
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's tough. It's like you can't really say no to McCaffrey. He's
hard to say no to, but I think this upcoming season, I'm not saying I'm avoiding him. I'm just not going to enjoy putting his name onto my team as much as I would have in years past. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know at what point in the first round that I'm willing to do it. It's just it's tough to say. It's not like he's off my board, but I really have to feel a conviction to draft him to really feel comfortable about it, and I don't know at what pick that's going to be.
He's gonna be in the,
I'm hoping someone takes him with the first or second pick in all my drafts, and then I don't have to make the decision. So, I mean, when the lead running back on a team, has issues with staying healthy, you need to know the backup running backs, correct?
Yes. Tell me who they are. I need to know who it is.
So here, you need to listen to this, all right? So in years past, it's been Elijah Mitchell. Do you know that name?
Yes.
Elijah Mitchell has been the handcuffed essentially for Christian McCaffrey for a few years now. Now the problem is Elijah Mitchell gets hurt just as much as Christian McCaffrey does, which doesn't make any sense. I don't know how that happens, considering he doesn't play. I don't know how you get hurt on the bench, but he's already hurt. Okay. Now, I forget what injury he has, but Elijah Mitchell's already out. Okay. So the handcuff to keep in mind here, the name to keep in mind, is Jordan Mason.
Jordan Mason.
Okay. Kyle Shanahan has already come out and said that Jordan Mason has looked a lot better, and he's been running as the backup running back. So I think Jordan Mason is a target late in drafts when everyone is drafting handcuffs and backups on their team as their fourth and fifth running backs. Jordan Mason is a good option, especially if you really think that Christian McCaffrey is going to have an injured year. So definitely keep Jordan Mason on your radar. Okay?
For sure. I like it.
Now, we can move on to the wide receivers. We already know Aiyuk has been holding out. You already know that the way I feel about players who are holding out and the risk for injury. So he's dropped a lot in ADP due to his holdout. He used to be going in the early to middle second round, but now on ESPN, he's actually being drafted in like at the 3-4 turn.
Ooh.
So he's taking a hit. And Deebo is currently going in the second round. He has been all off season. So I like Deebo a lot, but man, second round after some of the clips I've seen, it's tough.
Yeah, I'd say that's really expensive.
It is expensive. And the thing is here, when all of these options are healthy, including Kittle, who we're about to talk about, when all of these options are healthy, none of them are worth their ADP except McCaffrey. Okay. If one of them is hurt, then historically, all of them go off, the healthy ones. So if you're telling me that McCaffrey's already hurt, Aiyuk has been holding out and might get hurt, and Kittle has always been a little injury prone, I think I actually really like Deebo second round. Now, I've told you before, second round is usually a lock for running back for me. So if he could drop to the third for me, I'm all over it. But, I think Deebo is perfectly fine, especially if you really do think that McCaffrey or Aiyuk might be injured at some point this season. He could really be like the X factors for this team. So, anything to add to that?
No. Okay.
Well, another name to keep in mind for the wide receivers on this team, Ricky Pearsall.
Who?
Ricky Pearsall was a wide receiver that the 49ers drafted with the last pick in the first round. So he's kind of like the Brandon Aiyuk insurance, I'm pretty sure. But the problem with that is he's already hurt.
Oh, boy.
He has a really bad shoulder injury.
Oh, my gosh.
So he might be out a while.
Oh.
So they have no insurance for Aiyuk right at this minute. So,
and Aiyuk is like, show me the money.
Yeah, I'm hoping that before your draft starts, we know a little bit more about the Aiyuk situation. And if Aiyuk gets traded or he's just not going to play when the season starts, I think Deebo's a smash, honestly. I'd be totally okay drafting him in the second round, like at the end of the second round to the third round. I think he's perfectly valued perfect where he would be going there. So, and same thing for Kittle. Usually I'm not really a Kittle guy. He's a little too boom bust for me. Kittle, he's either going to get you 2 points, he's going to have like one catch and kind of lose you your week, or he's going to get you 30 points because it's a Kittle week. And generally speaking, like I told you before, Kittle is more apt to big performances whenever one of the other options is injured. So with all of the injury shit going down right now for this team, I actually like Kittle this year. And like I said, I'm not usually a Kittle guy, but I think as a tight end 6 off the board, yeah, I could see it.
Yeah, I like it.
So what's up?
He's a very amazing option for this year for sure.
Yeah, especially with all the injury concerns. So
yeah,
I mean, that's it with the 49ers. Anything else to add?
No.
I think they've been highly valued in years past, and they still are this year. But with all the concerns, I think they actually have a little bit more value than people are realizing. So, well, certain ones. So
yeah.
So let's get to the Rams.
The Rams.
I
like the Rams because they have Puka.
They have all your husbandos.
Do they? I mean, I had Cooper Kupp and Puka last year.
Yeah, I had Cooper Kupp last year. You know how that went? Not very well.
Yeah, because Puka did really well.
Yeah, he did. And Cooper Kupp got injured. So.
Yeah. So the Rams, what? The Rams were a pleasant surprise last year and definitely turned heads with their play. Can we expect this already elite Stafford-led offense to take another step forward with a hopefully healthy Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua?
Well, I hope so. That would be nice. What?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I think this offense, when everyone is healthy, is a top 5 offense. I mean, Sean McVay is a legit, like...
They look good on paper.
They look real good on paper, okay? I think if Stafford gets hurt, which he does a lot, we're fucked.
I mean, he played through an injury last year, didn't he?
He does every year.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of if he can
he's
stand
such a
and throw
big guy. He just uses his body, I guess.
Yeah. So, I mean, the thing about Matt Stafford is he is a fantastic real life quarterback.
Real life quarterback?
Yes.
As compared to an NFL quarterback?
As opposed to a fantasy quarterback.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I thought you were talking like, backyard quarterback or,
I know.
down the park.
The thing with Stafford is he's really, really, really good. And he has shown in years past that he has the ability to keep multiple, pieces of this offense fed and fantasy relevant. Okay. So the thing is, though, he's not that good for fantasy. I think a few years ago he had his best quote unquote fantasy season and he finished as like QB 8 or QB 10, somewhere in that range. He's going, I don't know, 15 to 17, somewhere in there now. And if you're in a 1 QB league, which most leagues are, he's kind of just like a filler, waiver wire option.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't expect more from him than that. Now, if we want to skip over to the wide receivers, I mean, Cooper Kupp and Puka are elite.
Yeah.
Okay. Puka was a rookie last year, but I think he showed enough to prove that he belongs in the league, and he was making some ridiculous catches out there last year. So
some highlight reels were fine.
Some highlight reels with his hair flowing, he was looking good. So I think they're both elite. Now, Cooper Kupp was around the 4th round earlier this season, but then the Bursa sack. I feel like I've said Bursa so many times in recordings now, but Puka's Bursa sack injury has kind of pushed him out of the 1st round a little bit. He's like for 1-2 turn, and it's actually pushed Cooper Kupp into the 3rd round, which I think is perfectly viable. I'm perfectly okay taking Cooper Kupp in the 3rd round this year. In fact, if you kind of start off with a running back, and then coming back with Cooper Kupp in the 3rd, I mean, 2 years ago, he was the best receiver in like fantasy history. He won the Triple Crown for most yards, catches, and touchdowns. He could easily, being healthy this year, have a similar season to that, even with Puka there, because Stafford's so good. So I think 3rd round price is fantastic for him. I mean, this is coming from someone who drafted him with the 3rd overall pick last year in my most expensive league, and then him completely shitting all over that with his injuries. So I'm not out on him. I actually really like where he's going, and he has the ability, like I said, if you go running back, or even if you just go running back, wide receiver, I mean, he has the ability to be a pillar of your fantasy team this year, barring health.
Yeah.
So the problem with Puka is we've only seen it 1 year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he's already being priced as if he's done this multiple years.
Right.
He was going in the first round. I mean,
plus he's not the wide receiver 1 officially.
They're like a 1A, 1B. So that's the other thing. It's like most of the first round receivers have basically the lion's share for themselves. With Puka and Cooper Kupp, it's like 1A, 1B.
That's really tough.
It's tough.
That would be really tough because if it's a 1A, 1B, you could have a game where one of them gets 18 points and the other one gets 20 or 15. It'll be a split. Whereas in other leagues where you just pick up the actual clear wide receiver 1, you can have a game where you get that 25 or more.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, between Puka and Cooper Kupp, I mean, with Cooper Kupp's age in mind, you know, you can't really pick an alpha from the two of them. It's like AJ Brown in the first round. You can argue that, yeah, Devontae Smith is also there, and so they have 2 legit wide receivers. But the thing is, you look at the Eagles, everyone knows AJ Brown is the alpha wide receiver there. I mean, he is the go-to target. With the Rams, it's like you can have a Puka week or you can have a Cooper Kupp week, you know, and it could go back and forth. And he's just
Puka, I mean, let's be honest. Puka looks more like the alpha.
I'm
kidding.
I was about to say that could be on your hot take list. Okay,
I'm so kidding.
It's fine. But yeah, with this bursa sack injury, Puka has dropped into the early second round, and at that price, I'm obviously a little bit more in because I was not going to get him in the first round. I'll be honest. It's not like he was off my board. I think he's a second round pick, you know. And Cooper Kupp being in the third, I'd rather just get Cooper Kupp at price. So, I mean, I'm cool with both of them. I think they both are going to be really good this year if everyone's healthy. So, like I said, it's a top 5 offense. I want good players on good teams. And these are both good players on good teams.
Hell yeah, brother.
So, some other names to keep in mind for the wide receivers for this team. Demarcus Robinson is a name that you should know. He's going to be, I'm not even bullshitting, he's probably going to be the last pick in your draft in terms of like last round, you know, dart throw. But at the end of last year, okay, Demarcus Robinson had like a 4 to 5 week span where he was averaging a touchdown a week, and he was getting 10 to 15 fantasy points for the last few games of the season. He took over the wide receiver 3 role for this team from Tutu Atwell. I don't know if you remember that dude, but Tutu Atwell was there. He took it over, and I think Demarcus Robinson, taking a flyer on him as the last pick in your draft, you know, especially if your team is kind of, you know, starving for a little wide receiver help, is definitely a good name to keep in mind. I mean, we're talking about a dude that, like I said, is going to be the wide receiver 3 on a really good offense, and that late in the draft, you're going to be deciding between him and I can't even, like, the wide receiver 4 or 5 on a much worse team. You know, I'd rather just have Demarcus Robinson at that price.
Sounds like a good option, especially if one of them gets hurt.
Yeah. So,
Knock
I mean,
on wood, of course,
yeah, that's the other thing. If one of them gets hurt, you know, he's there, and he's probably going to be on waivers in 95% of leagues. Like
Puka was.
So I just think you need to keep his name in mind. So, excuse me. Let's talk about the running backs. Okay. The running backs here are so interesting because you have Kyron Williams as the lead running back here. And you have rookie Blake Corum, who got drafted in the 3rd round. He was the workhorse for the national title winning Michigan. I forget what their I'm not a college football guy. I forget what their mascot is, but so Blake Corum got drafted by the Rams because he resembles Kyren Williams a lot.
In looks or in gameplay? I'm kidding.
In gameplay. At least that's what Sean McVay and the GM, Les Snead, I believe that's his name, that's what they came out and said, is that their fear was, from last year, was that Kyren Williams had so much on his plate that they needed someone else that could come in and just be a diet Kyren Williams. So, I mean, last season, Kyren Williams in the middle of the season missed 4 games due to injury.
Right.
And they signed Darrell Henderson, who was a free agent. Okay. He was a free agent. They signed him for those 4 weeks and then cut him again. Yeah. He was on the team for 4 weeks.
Damn.
And then cut him again. I don't know if you remember last season when Kyren Williams got hurt and the number 1 waiver wire addition for that week was like Zach Evans. I don't know if you remember that name.
Yeah.
But Zach Evans was like the number 1 target on like every waiver wire show. Everyone spent, a large amount of their like fab dollars, or if you're not in a fab league, like they spent the number 1 like waiver spot to get Zach Evans on their team, only for them to literally never use him.
Oof.
So my point is that Kyren Williams is their guy. Okay? But now we know for a fact who the backup guy is. Okay? It's not going to be some random asshole off the street, right? It's going to be Blake Corum. So I think Kyren Williams is undervalued this year. He's going in the early to middle second round, and I still think that is extremely undervalued. Okay? He was the second most important fantasy player last year, minus Christian McCaffrey.
Ooh.
Okay. The reason why he's not going in the first round is because of Blake Corum. People are scared that he's going to eat into the Kyren Williams workload. Okay. I'm telling you right now, I'm not afraid of that. I know Blake Corum is good. I'm not saying he's not. But Sean McVay in the past has proven with his actions that he is a 1 running back coach. Okay.
Very loyal.
Let me read you some stats. Okay, for Kyren Williams last year. Okay. Like I said, he missed 4 games in the middle of the season. So these are going to be a little cherry picked, but I'm going to explain them to you. Okay. Last season, he averaged 21.5 full PPR points a game.
Oh.
21.5. That's, 20 points a game from any position player, not quarterback, is insanely productive. Okay? There was only one other running back that averaged more than 20 points a game. Christian McCaffrey. So he averaged the second most points per game of all running backs. Okay? He missed 4 games. And he only had 2 games where he scored less than 10 points. Okay? I did the math. I actually did the math on my phone, making notes for this episode. If you took out the 2 games where he scored less than 10 points, and you only used all the other games, which I know is a little cherry picked, he would have averaged 26 points a game.
Damn.
So I think Kyren Williams is a smash in the second round. I don't know why he's going in the second round with everything I just said. And if you really feel nervous about it, just get Blake Corum on your bench in whatever round he's going in. Okay? I think having the lead running back for this team for every single week this season guarantees you a running back 1. Whether it's Blake Corum or Kyren Williams. Okay? I don't usually go out and tell people to draft handcuff receiver or running backs just to have the handcuff for their lead running back that they draft.
So nobody else can have them.
Yeah. But in this situation, whether it's Blake Corum or Kyren, like if Kyren goes down to injury, Blake Corum is going to be ranked as a running back 1 for whatever weeks he's out. So, yeah, I love Kyron this year. I love Blake Corum this year. I want both of them. I want both of their receivers. And their tight end, we need to talk about. Okay? I'm not even bullshitting. He is the deepest sleeper at tight end that I'm willing to draft. Okay? He's going so late, and Stafford has proven that he can lift all of his fantasy options, right? It used to be Tyler Higbee, but Tyler Higbee, his leg bent backwards last season, so his ACL's torn. He's probably going to return towards the end of the year, maybe, or he might just miss the whole season. I'm not too sure. So the Rams went out and spent a large sum of money for Colby Parkinson.
Who? I had to think about that for a second. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've never heard of him before.
Good. Because you need to know the name. All right. Colby Parkinson is currently going as the tight end 31. He's going not drafted. He's in every single league. He's not going to be drafted. Okay. Not saying he even should be, but I would not be surprised if he ends up as a top 12 tight end. Okay. This offense has proven to love throwing to tight ends, and Parkinson got a humongous bag of money from the Rams this offseason. He got a 3-year, $22.5 million contract.
Oh my God, for a tight end?
That's $7.5 million a year, and you've never even heard of him.
That's insane. Where did they even get him from?
He's from the Seahawks. That's also why Noah Fant on the Seahawks right now is considered a sleeper as well, because Noah Fant doesn't have Colby Parkinson fighting for targets.
Oh.
So 3 years, that's some legit money. $22.5 million.
They believe in this Parkinson kid.
So he's been pretty much like a blocking exclusive tight end for most of his career. But I think in this offense, with them loving to throw their tight ends, he's a name you need to know. Like, if I completely whiff on tight end this season, which could happen, just draft Colby Parkinson with the last pick of your draft, or better yet, don't even draft him and just pick him up before week 1 starts.
It's kind of like what I did with Laporta.
Exactly. So just keep the name in mind. Not saying he's going to be super amazing, but it's like I said, if he finishes as a top 12 tight end this year, and everyone's like, where the hell did this guy come from? Just remember me telling you this right now. Colby Parkinson. Okay? So let's move on to the Seahawks, yeah?
All right. Seattle Seahawks. Oh, okay. So we get a very interesting coaching and play caller change in Seattle this year. What can we hope from the weapons in this offense?
So let's talk about the coaching change in question here. The Seahawks got rid of Pete Carroll.
Oh, where'd he go now?
I think he's back at USC. I think he's teaching, though. He's not. I don't think he's in football anymore. But so he's out. All right. The coach they bring in, do you know who they brought in or no?
Nah.
So they brought in Mike McDonald, who was the...
Had a farm.
Yeah, not that McDonald.
Sorry.
He was the defensive coordinator for the Ravens last year. You know, the Ravens with the amazing defense.
Yes, the defense you have to pick up.
Yeah. So their offensive coordinator, since we don't really care about defense, right? Their offensive coordinator was the offensive coordinator for the Washington Huskies, who were the team that went to the national title game. They beat UT to get to the national title game.
Oh.
And they had a pretty legit offense. So Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator, I think is actually like a very interesting coaching change here that we need to keep in mind. I think he's going to raise the level of, like, the floor level of all these players. And the reason why I say that is because the Seahawks last year actually finished as the slowest pace of play team in the league.
Oh my gosh.
They had the least amount of plays per game out of everyone. Okay. This year, if we get a faster offense, which preseason has proven so far for the Seahawks, I think all of these weapons here have a legit shot of all going up a tier. just based off more plays. More volume, more plays equals more fantasy points, right?
Yes, ideally.
Ideally, yes. So let's talk about Geno Smith, the quarterback. I think he's very similar to Matt Stafford. You shouldn't really think about him in a one quarterback league unless you're looking for a bench fill-in. All right. Geno has proven in the past, though, a few years ago, that he has top 5 upside. He finished the season as a top 5 quarterback in fantasy. Now, this was also the year that a lot of quarterbacks got hurt, so take that with a grain of salt, I suppose, but he has top 5 upside, so he should be on the radar, especially if you get one of these passing options, like receivers on your team, like a DK Metcalf. You get DK Metcalf on your team and then whiff on all the quarterbacks. Getting Geno Smith in one of the final rounds of your draft, I'm fine with it. You know, you get the touchdowns for both of them.
If you get the very last pick in your league and it's not a snake draft.
Oh, linear. No one sane does anything but a snake draft. Or an auction draft.
You're not in a snake draft.
I do have a draft that's not a snake draft, yes. And it is kind of insane, but it's fun. So
it's fun until you're like, everyone is hurt. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So Geno Smith should be on the radar, especially if you're stacking. All right. We can talk about the wide receivers here. I think the wide receivers here are very interesting. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Okay. Tyler Lockett is old.
Yes.
I have nothing else much more to add than that. He's old. All right.
He's old, period.
And last year, he looked old. Okay. Most of the time with receivers, when they hit the age cliff, they hit it. And then it's gone. We've seen that with so many players in the past. I mean, like Julio Jones looked great and then hit a certain age, which is where Tyler Lockett is now, and just fell off a cliff. Okay. I'm not saying Tyler Lockett is done, but I'm saying the chances of him being relevant again for fantasy are probably pretty low.
Or he could,
be really good. Or he could just be really old.
He could just be old.
And really bad. And the other thing is to keep in mind with Lockett, Jackson Smith and Jigba was a rookie last year, and he was the number 1 receiver drafted in the draft. All right. This is going to be his second year, and he has looked amazing in preseason. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba should be on everyone's radar as a draft pick. I'm totally okay drafting him as my 4th receiver and seeing where this goes with him this season. With this season, I honestly kind of want him on every team because I really do believe that with the Ryan Grubb offense and they're picking up the pace of play and Tyler Lockett aging out, that Jackson Smith and Jigba has a chance to really just blow away his ADP. And honestly, he does things that DK Metcalf does not do. DK Metcalf is kind of like your, sideline catch, in the end zone or whatever. And Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to be getting all the easy stuff over the middle. So
a catch is a point. In full PPR.
Catch is a point. Now, DK Metcalf, he's honestly, in my opinion, being drafted at his floor, which means he's also a very good pick, in my opinion, where he's going. He's going in the 4th round. And he has been the number 1 receiver in red zone targets the last 2 years.
That's really good.
The problem is he has played in an offense that plays very slow, and he's gotten unlucky with touchdowns. So the thing is, if this Ryan Grubb offense, I keep going back to this, can speed up their pace of play, and he gets a little bit luckier with his touchdowns, I think he's great where he's going. He's the number 1 receiver, in this offense, and he's never finished below where he's going. He's being drafted at the floor. So perfectly okay getting him, especially as it's like I've told you before, if I go running back, and I go like Cooper Kupp 3rd round and then DK Metcalf in the 4th, man,
your team is set.
My team is stacked. Okay. And so yeah, I'm all over JSN. I'm all over DK Metcalf. Kenneth Walker is the running back here, and he's kind of very boom busty, kind of like a George Kittle. He's the George Kittle of running backs. He's either going to basically, like, his rushes are going to get you 0 yards, or he's going to break away a 40-yard touchdown.
Yeah, but I mean, they do have the new coaching staff, so that could change.
Yes. So Kenneth Walker, he's kind of like in my tier of running backs. I have the 3-down workhorse running backs in good offenses, and then I have a couple fringe guys, and then I have the running back dead zone. And my fringe guys are, I wouldn't say I'm not drafting them or drafting them. They're kind of just, if I whiff on not getting 2 of the elite running backs, I would love to have one of those couple fringe guys as my running back too. Now, these names include Kenneth Walker. He's in that fringe group. And Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon's in a good offense with the Texans. He's going to be getting a lot of work. And then Alvin Kamara as well. He's going to be kind of like a fringy guy as well. So those 3 guys in particular are going to be right there in that fringe. And after Kenneth Walker, it's just a cliff. So they're done after that.
Oh, boy.
You need to get 2 running backs before that. So Zach Charbonnet is the handcuff. He was a rookie last year, and honestly, I wouldn't say didn't do anything, because he was there, but definitely had a disappointing year compared to what we were expecting, or at least the fantasy community was expecting. So I don't see Zach Charbonnet as anything more than a handcuff. And we kind of mentioned Noah Fant. I mean, Noah Fant has been on the Seahawks, and he's a very popular sleeper. But, I mean, like I've said all offseason, I'd prefer to just get a tight end earlier, or, preferably a tight end that is going to be second in targets on their offense, like a Tyler Conklin or something. So, that's the Seahawks.
Yay. I feel like, hasn't DK Metcalf been with the Seahawks ever since he was in the league?
Yes. He's also been paid by them as well. He's on their second contract. So.
All right. So moving on to the Cardinals. Kyler Murray is back. And now the Cardinals draft one of the best wide receiver prospects since Jamar Chase in Marvin Harrison Jr. Could we potentially get a top 10 offense this year out of Arizona?
So we kind of talked about how this was going to be my hot take for the Cardinals.
Oh, boy.
Now, I'm not saying it will happen. I think they have the potential to have a top 10 offense. Okay. Kyler Murray comes back. He's a year removed from his ACL tear. And he's probably one of, if not my favorite target this year for quarterbacks. Okay. Kyler Murray is the last of the proven, running quarterbacks, and knowing that, because there is Jaden Daniels, right? But he hasn't proved it. He's a rookie. So Kyler Murray is the last of the rushing quarterback tier. You know what I mean? So right now he's going as I think he's going as QB7 or QB8, and I think he could easily finish this year as a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah.
So I think, honestly, what you really want to do with him is, since he's going a little bit later, if you could stack him with Marvin Harrison Jr. or Trey McBride, their tight end, I think stacking some of those weapons would be a very nice addition to your team. So the problem with that is Marvin Harrison Jr. is the highest ADP rookie receiver ever. He's going at the end of the first round or early second round in every draft.
Oh.
Okay. On ESPN, he's a little bit lower. He's going like into the second, but still, if you want the exciting new rookie receiver, then you're really going to have to pay up for him.
Yeah.
So that's on you if you want to do that. But I think, honestly, if you go into the draft and Marvin Harrison Jr. falls to a point where you're content on taking him, pairing him up later with Kyler Murray is going to feel really good, So, the good thing about Marvin Harrison Jr. is that after him, in terms of wide receivers, there's a pretty decent drop-off on the Cardinals. They have Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch there, but they're not going to be they're not going to be highly drafted in any league, and Marvin Harrison's going to come in and be the alpha right away.
That's probably why he's so high.
So,
I mean, for sure.
Well,
why?
Trey McBride is also there. He's the tight end. He broke out last year. Okay. In the final, I don't know. I think it was like 8 games of the season. He scored more points than Laporta and Kelsey.
Oh.
So he's going as the tight end 3. So you're going to have to pay up for him. But the thing is that after last season, I mean, he kind of proved that he's very, very good. So, I mean, this offense with these passing weapons and Kyler Murray coming back off an ACL and looking decent, I mean, even with James Conner, the running back, I mean, he's just old reliable, right? He's going late again. The only problem with him is he's just old. He's just old, right? And he's going to get hurt at some point in the season, but that's baked into the price. Okay? He's guaranteed to miss games, but the reason why he's going to be missing games is because he's carrying the ball 20 times a game. So he's going to be a really good RB2 option for every single team that drafts him. Okay. What?
Yeah. Well, I just thought maybe it might be a little different this year because Kyler Murray is healthy.
In terms of him like rushing?
Mm-hmm.
It could, but
either way, he's
going
still going to
so
be running.
Late. I mean, I don't know why he goes so late. It's crazy to me. He's going around people that are the backup running backs on their own teams.
What?
So, I mean, I don't know if you can tell. I'm kind of high on the Cardinals offense this year. I want all of them. Now, it depends on how much I have to pay. Like, I'm not comfortable drafting Marvin Harrison in the first or early second. But if he drops to like the late second, early third, I'm willing to take a shot on that. So, what do you think?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's basically it. That's it for the division.
Whoa. That's quick.
Was it?
I don't know. I felt like it was.
I don't know. We're pretty late into it.
Oh, all right.
So, I mean, is there anything you want to add to this division? There's a lot of people in this division that you really like. I know that for a fact. You literally had like a Puka Nakua sticker the other day. So,
not me just walking around with a Puka Nakua sticker on my shirt.
Yeah.
And everyone telling me they're going to draft him.
To make you mad, yeah.
And then I'm telling everyone not to draft him because he has an injury.
Versus that, yeah.
So I'm telling everyone about the injury, and they're like, "Ooh, that doesn't sound good. Maybe I don't pick him." I'm like, "Oh yeah, don't pick him." So yeah. This is gonna be a very fun division. I don't know who I would target here. There's too many. Really, all depends on where I'm going to be in the draft. Well, I guess we'll find out at the end of the week.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Do some mock drafts where I'm going to be, and it should be fun.
Yeah, for sure. So that was the NFC West. That was our last division breakdown. I didn't realize that the division breakdowns are going to be so just
much harder.
It was going to be hard. It was hard, yeah.
Yeah. Well, remember, guys, we're going to have, if you're still listening, we love you. We're going to have some back-to-back episodes coming out this week. This is Draft Week.
Draft Week. Yeah.
Draft Week.
Not Shark Week, not Draft Week. It's Draft Week.
It's Shark Week for the Draft Week. It's
Sure.
Draft Week. So this is Draft Week. You guys need to keep an eye out. If you need to click subscribe, hit some of that notification buttons just so you can stay in touch. And
also, if you're
be
still
up to
listening
date.
to this point, we really love you, like she said, and leave likes, comments. Feedback is always great. So, yeah, we appreciate you guys.
But yeah, we will see you guys on the flip side. Or next
the
couple
flip
of days.
side?
Yeah.
Is it Shark Week? Yeah, we are the Fantasy Dummies. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Kay.
And we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Sure.
Whatever.